What's up? Welcome to the Confluence.VC podcast. This podcast is meant to give you a personal glimpse into the next era of investors and operators. This week we had on Kenny Rose with FranShares. FranShares makes it possible for anybody to build up passive income through franchise investing. Their team is planning to open up access to the product soon. You can sign up for the waitlist for free using the link attached in the description. In this talk, we cover the appeal of cash flow compared to speculative bets, creating hype before a product launch, and unromantic parts of startup life.
Everybody, welcome to the Confluence.VC podcast. Today we have with us Kenny from FranShares, pioneer in small business investing, and we're not talking pre-seed. So, Kenny, want to tell us a bit about FranShares, how we can start investing in franchises through a very easy means, and more importantly, before all that, tell us about you and why you're one of the dopest people that exists.
Oh man, I appreciate that. You haven't gotten the full story yet. It's great to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on. Kenny Rose, founder and CEO of FranShares. I actually got my start off in the finance world. Ty, we were talking before about, we both lived in San Francisco at a point. I was actually a financial advisor at Merrill Lynch up there. And it was my big taste of getting the boiler room and dialing for dollars behind the big glass wall there. But, this is also when Greece's economy started going down the drain. And, the economist in me is like, hey, that shouldn't really affect our stock market much. Hasn't before. But then all the headlines started sending everyone's portfolios into a spiral. And it just drove me insane. And I was like, you know what? I want to see what else is out there. I also saw online brokerages coming up. I was like, this isn't the long term for me. So I started talking to some family friends, looking at other ventures in life. And one of them was the CEO of a company that coaches CEOs. So no brainer for me to talk to. And I was kind of taken away. He's like, what do you know about franchising? I'm like, franchising? Like McDonald's, Subway, Taco Bell? And he's like, well, yeah, those are some, but did you know my company's a franchise? So there's a franchise for coaching CEOs. He says there's franchises for everything. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a big industry to not know that much about. So, all right, let me hop in and check it out. So he introduced me to a group of franchise brokers. Have you guys ever heard of a franchise broker before?
Dude, I get ads from them on YouTube all the time because I'm always looking at motivational and get rich. And
all right, so you've heard of them a little bit. Perfect. So
they try to charge you so much on YouTube. You know the real ones.
Because the real ones don't cost anything. So how it works is that, most people don't wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'd love to go buy a franchise. Let's get after it. And even if you did, there's over 4,000 different franchises out there. They go 100 plus different industries. And so to find the right one, those companies are spending tens and tens of thousands of dollars to find a franchisee. And so as a broker, you actually work with them and the client's looking for the right franchise to invest in. You educate them on franchising, you get an idea of what their budget, their skill set, their goals are, recommend specific fits for them, and coach them through the research process. And at the end, it's free for the client because the franchise is paying you for it because they want to save the time and money that is finding a franchisee. So literally, you could skip talking to me, go straight to Supercuts. It would be the exact same investment. And so that's what I did for 5+ years. And I worked with the world's largest brokerage to start off doing business development for them, learning the ins and outs. And then eventually I took over LA County for them. And then while I'm doing this, every convention I'm going to, there's seminars that are coming up on stuff I pretty much came up with. They stole emails from mine, threw them in the corporate training manual, and I'm a co-author on an Amazon bestseller I don't get royalties for. So I got to this point of I might be helping you more than you're helping me. And it's going to go to the larger company. I'm going to go start my own business. And so I moved out to Chicago, started my own brokerage called Sempia. And I had a big focus on what I was hearing more from clients. And they say, hey, I don't really want to leave the corporate world and be an owner operator. I want a side business. I want to have an investment there that's passive, semi-passive cash flow on the side. So if you think of Supercuts as the example, you walk in, the owner's not there cutting hair. They have a manager in place. And as an owner, they're managing the manager. So I really focused on this side of it. It kind of mixed my background in finance and my background in franchising. And I also wanted to make sure people got education on franchising because most people don't know anything about franchising. They know basics of the business model and that it's generally fast food. And so I started off writing on Quora, the question and answer site. And one of my answers, I got millions of views on it, but one of my biggest ones was on how much a Chick-fil-A costs. And that one got sent out to 40 million people. If you read The Hustle at all, they did a Sunday story, and I was like the main source for it. And then I just started reaching out to other journalists, talking within the network, got featured in Forbes, ABC, and in February this year, I had a whole Business Insider article on me and the work in the industry. But
Wow.
Throughout my time doing all this, I kept getting a lot of the same questions like, hey, I love the idea of owning a franchise, but I don't have 6 or 7 figures of cash, or I'm not leaving my day job. I don't have spare time on the side, or does my skill set actually transfer over to it? You could be a great IT manager, but then when it comes to managing hairstylists, you're in a totally different ballgame. And so the idea really kept brewing of like, hey, people should be able to like passively invest in franchise ownership that's managed for them and grouped together with other investors. And so I'd been sitting on this idea for a while, and then the pandemic hit. And I was sitting in quarantine, and I read an article that people were gambling on the stock market because sports were not. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm late. I need to get this going yesterday. And so had a bunch of friends in the startup world, got connected with the lawyers and everything. And then we put FranShares together and went out. It was funny, actually, when I was fundraising.
You got to give us an elevator pitch on FranShares.
Oh, the elevator pitch, sure. So FranShares is an alternative investment that lets you invest in fractions of a franchise portfolio that's diversified across multiple locations, different geographies, and different industries. You can invest for as little as $500, and you earn equity in the growth of the franchise value, as well as passive cash flow from the income that those franchises produce. How'd I do? I'm working on it.
Mwah.
Oh, love it, love it. He's too good to me.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yes, I went and started talking to VCs about this, and it was funny. I must have reached out to 300 plus VCs. I may have gotten 2 or 3 calls. And, I was just like, all right, well, let's have these calls. And they were just like, hey, great idea, but it's early. And I'd keep hearing that. And, I wanted to prove them wrong because I knew this would work. And so I started reaching out to angel investors. Actually, as soon as I decided to start reaching out to them, 3 weeks, I raised a little under 600,000. And I was like, great, now I need to go find a venture group. I need some more prestige and credibility behind it. And so I started networking more with VCs again. And it's amazing how much they answer your calls more when you say, I've already raised $500,000. And then eventually through networking, I eventually got introduced to Chicago Ventures. And Chicago Ventures was just coming off one unicorn after the other, M1 Finance, Cameo, Project 44. I think they had like 6 or 7 this year. And talking with a bunch of VCs, I got a lot of the same comments before. It was like, this is a good idea. You're definitely the guy to do this, but I don't know anything about franchising. And I'm just like, I can't really fault you for it, And then I come to Chicago Ventures, and Stuart Larkin's one of the founders of the fund. I find out after several calls with other people on the team, my first time about to meet Stuart, I hear 2 seconds before he hops on the call. So I just found out Stuart's actually invested in franchising before. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how have you never mentioned this? We hop on the call. I just like kind of bull my way through. I'm like, Stuart, tell me about your investment experience in franchising. And he's like, oh, I rolled up 500 KFCs to be the largest franchisee in their system and then sold it to private equity. And I'm just
Only
like, oh, yeah, only.
That sounds like peasant activities to me.
For us in the future, don't get me wrong. I'll say, remember when you talk about 500, that cute little thing? But
it's not at least 6 digits. Come on.
Yeah, so I write that. I'm just like, oh, so you get this? He's like, yeah, I get it. Right then, I'm like, oh, we're done here. Like, this is great. And then we finished out the round. And this whole year leading up to it, we're launching next month. But, we just started doing paid ads literally Thursday last week. And all this, so this is a live update. Like, you've probably seen it flipping behind me. Whenever someone signs up, it live goes on there. I got this little in-person counter for you. I like taking the offline with the online together. And but so really just through word of mouth, like I emailed a bunch of people that I was close with, and then I started posting on LinkedIn, posted in 2 Facebook groups, and now we're just shy of 3,500 on the wait list. And it's great, man. I mean, honestly, the support we've been getting has just been incredible, and super happy with where we are so far and just getting warmed up.
We love this. We love this. It's so break down to us really quickly, like, what do I need to do to get ownership in a franchise on your platform? Like, yeah.
The great thing right now, it's as simple as go to FranShares.com and hop on the wait list. And, we've got 3,500 on it. It really depends on how high the average investment level is. Because when you sign up, it's been great because there's like a survey that pops up now of like, hey, where do you live? And then a bunch of like demographic stuff, including like, hey, if you're thinking about investing in this, like, how much would you want to invest? And it's great because since this hasn't existed, we've gotten everything from your 18 to 24-year-olds that want to do $500 to a couple grand, all the way to your 55 plus that want to do 100,000, 200,000. We've gotten a bunch of 500,000s. And we're also talking with a bunch of family offices about getting in the first fund too. So it could be 1,000 investors. It could be 3,000 investors. It could be 500 investors. That's kind of the beauty when we go to launch time. So good to get on it now before we really start investing in the marketing and also launch it.
Everybody got to sign up with my referral link though. I'm going to link that everywhere.
So Clay, I gave you like, I moved you up the wait list. I gave you like credit for like 50 on there from your e-blast out. And thank you so much for that. But got to use a referral link because we're going to give everyone like $50 for every referral that ends up investing with us. We actually haven't even announced that to we haven't announced that to our wait list yet. We're shooting that out like next week. So you got a little early insight here.
Let's go. I'm going to shoot that over to you right after this, Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, I'm not going to lie. When you said that the counter just went up, that was me. So
I love it.
Sorry, Clay.
I was looking at that in the background and I saw it go up. I was like, oh, I wonder what that's for.
It's funny. Yeah. It's the little hidden elephant in the room. You're like, what is that? And my favorite is we're going to be doing another raise for the company itself after the first fund. And so like whenever I'm talking to VCs, I just don't even mention it. And then it starts flipping in the background. Eventually, well, what is that? Oh, that's our wait list.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the annual returns on here, and it's pretty crazy. 26 to 33%, 42.7 to 98%, 50 to 150%. Breakdown for us in our community who are typically investing in illiquid, highly speculative, high return upside potential companies. What the reason they should, or what is the reason they should be jumping onto this versus what they do today?
Well, diversification, that's the main one. I mean, as a former advisor, I gotta say, you're always supposed to be diversified between your regular, your alternatives, cash producing, dividend paying, a little bit of everything. And these days, like everyone who wants a balanced portfolio that does have cash production, there's only so many options to get that cash production these days. Like there's dividend paying stocks, which can be inconsistent. And then the other main one's real estate, which with real estate, I mean, look at the last year or two, especially the prices have gone through the roof. You list a house, people come at you 10% over all cash offers. And now you've got institutional money coming in, you've got international money coming in. I read somewhere that 1 in 7 homes, single family homes, is owned by institutional capital now. So when you're trying to invest in cash producing real estate, the prices are going up, which means your returns are going down. And franchising is this great avenue where we're building the assets because they're locations of new businesses, but have the predictability that we can see the track record of what the other locations have done. And they are higher production because they're cash producing businesses that are in these very different areas. So, most people think about like fast food when it comes to franchising. And that's why you'll see like all those different ones you're looking at. Only one of them was in food, and that's not a fast food one. Fast food's it's not a great area to invest in, to be honest. It's what franchising is known for because food is the most competitive industry known to man. But they have the highest startup cost. I call it the war for pennies, the thinnest margins, highest number of employees, highest employee turnover. It's a nightmare. I don't want to deal with that. So instead, we look at things that are predominantly service businesses. So things like hair care, automotive, fitness. We've got waste management in the first fund. And so these are things that don't have inventory, have very few employees. A lot of them don't have a storefront. And so like this might not be what people think of like, oh, that's not what franchising is, but they're franchise businesses that make healthier margins. And so this is what I've helped people on years is that like, hey, these are the smart businesses to invest in. And we were talking before about how I said I was told that they franchise everything. I've seen absolutely everything. Like there's the traditionals, hair care, automotive, fitness, even fitness. There's 20 different subsections of boutique fitness now. I've done clothing recycling, custom tailored suit franchises. There's even sex shop franchises, Adam and Eve franchises.
Yo, I see those all the time. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I had a client come and they say, hey, I want something that's got a lot of e-commerce aspect to it. And I'm like, honestly, there's some, but like, I got a really good one, but I don't think you're going to like what it is. He's like, I don't care the industry. It could be any industry. I'm like, I'm really going to push you on that. Are you sure? He said, yeah. And I sent him in an email, like my whole like outline of why I like it and everything. And I'm just like, man, I'm probably going to piss this guy off, but hit send. And he comes back, I love it.
Dude,
And,
we gotta dive into the numbers here a little bit, right? Because like the whole piece of I don't care is basically saying I need my money. Like I want a mere asset to this type of thing. So like from a principal investment perspective, right? Like I'm not going to say how much Clay and I invested in the Confluence versus how much we make from it, but you can have pretty good returns, right?
Yeah.
What are like the average principal payback periods for some of these types of companies when you're consulting? What are the returns? What are the cash flows that come out of them annually or monthly, or like how does it work?
Yeah. So Tyler, I have to choose my words carefully here because we are regulated by the federal or by the SEC because we're registering as a fund.
Okay.
So I can only say so much, but
fair. That's
when
explain that fund versus individual.
Yeah, so that's part of why we're doing the Regulation A+ process for raising, is that we can work with accredited and non-accredited investors. But what's great about franchising is that franchising itself is regulated by the Federal Trade Commission as a means of consumer protection. And so part of that means we get a lot of transparency in franchising. And when you hear about people who make a bad investment in franchising, a lot of times they don't read through this whole document. But so what's included in it, it's everything from who the management team is, what their background is, what the franchise's background is. Has anyone on the team or the company had bankruptcies? Is there any legal action against the franchise? And then the parts that you only care about, and most people only care about, is how much does it cost and what can I make? And so included with all of these is that you get a line item of every cost to start up the franchise, from signing the agreement to opening the doors and your working capital afterwards. And it also comes in the form of a range because, Tyler, you're in New York, it's going to cost a lot more to open something there than in North Dakota. And so just saying like, here's what it costs would be misleading. So that's why they have to put it in a range. But then on top of that, there's another section that is their financial performance representation or their earnings claim. And so not every franchise has one, but I only work with ones that do. And so it's like, what information can you give me? And this comes in, some of them do like, here's our average revenue, here's our top third revenue, here's our average number of members if you're like a gym, or here's what our average net profit is. And so, especially for this first fund, I only wanted to work with ones that have net profits involved. And so our, because again, people want to know, and I can't just make up numbers for you. I want stuff that is transparent and you know what you're getting yourself into, because it's a brand new asset class. And people tend to hop in without looking through the numbers. This is why, did you hear about the Squid Game crypto coin?
I saw memes about it, but I didn't know it was real.
Oh yeah.
They blow up within 24 hours.
And they stole $3 million from people because people were looking at. Yeah, I think they got caught on
first days of ICO, and people are running off with way more than that.
That is a good point. I forgot about the ICOs. God, I remember someone asked me about doing ICOs back then. I'm like, it's too soon. I don't trust it. And then people abuse the hell out of it, which is why I love the way we're doing, is that like franchising's FTC regulated, and then we're in the process of registering as an SEC registered fund. And so there is layers and layers of transparency here. And so I want to make sure that if you're coming with a new asset class, let people be able to look at it and make a smart long-term decision. But so as far as cash flows, actually, if you look at that waste management one and the food one on the website, those are the first two that we're including in Fund 1. And food, it's a company called Teriyaki Madness. And the guy who started it, Michael Haith, he is a maven in the franchise world. He started Doc Popcorn, which grew to like 300 locations, got acquired by Dippin' Dots. Then he started Maui Wowie Sandwiches, huge on the West Coast and the Southwest. They got bought by a private equity company. And then he came on to be the CEO for Teriyaki Madness. And just such a great food franchise, because when you get the Asian food market, like, who comes to mind? That was a question for you.
I don't know who is a franchise versus who isn't.
Okay, well, Panda Express is like the main one that comes to mind, and Pickup Sticks. Like, those are the two big Asian food, either fast or quick.
I was seeing Panda Express. I didn't know whether or not they were franchised.
Yeah, and so it's funny because those are the only two that you think of versus how many burger places are there, how many chicken places are there, and Asian foods is such a massive market. And also, no one is ever going to accuse those two of being healthy. Versus Teriyaki Madness does quick, fast teriyaki bowls. It's a much healthier alternative for the Asian food market. And they are just, they're doing incredible numbers, which is obviously what anyone cares about. But I look at like the management team, the process, the structure, their marketing, all these things. And then the other one is in waste management, and it's just a brilliant business. I'm hoping I'm not giving away too much, and there's still availability for the fund. But again, I like to show people the breadth of the franchise world and how you can make money in very odd places that aren't sexy, but they're cash producing. And if you think about any apartment building, any commercial building, manufacturing, construction, everyone's got dumpsters out back. Costs a ton of money to haul those dumpsters off to the dump every time. This company's called Smash My Trash. They literally drive this giant rig up, mash everything down so that the business owners can keep filling it back up. Saves you 20% on your haul off expenses, and they literally do everything for you. You don't even have to talk to the guys. And they make money hand over fist. It's amazing. Average location costs $350,000 to $400,000, and average location net's like $600,000. This company's 5 years old.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, what's cool about this is these are effectively like early stage startups.
Yeah, kind of. At the same time,
With
they're
way
not
less
too.
risk.
Like, yeah.
And like they're profitable. It seems like people should, what you should do at some point is like start finding the ones that actually have potential to scale based on TAM, investing early at very low multiples, and then getting VCs to dump money in. Like you should just do a partnership with Confluence. We'll go help them raise money.
Tyler, come on, don't pretend I'm not thinking of this.
All right, Clay, you want to be LPs in this fund? You want to do a syndicate to like invest in this company?
Dude, I just told you, like, absolutely, Kenny. I'm like emptying my brokerage account in different shares whenever I can.
I love this. Also, the support's been so. This has been my baby. I came up with the idea 6 years ago. I heard Fundrise do a Series A, and I'm like, I'm gonna do that for franchising. But I was much younger man, and I wanted to build up myself as a business owner. That's why I started the other brokerage first instead of raising money for this.
Patience.
And the market really matured for alternative investments. Like this is the perfect time to be launching. Well, a year ago was perfect. This is the next best.
Well, another thing is you could have a completely separate business line at some point where you start these for people on top of a marketplace.
Oh, we're gonna have debt offerings too. Like a good way to think about this is like actually.
Well, I'm gonna invest in you, dude.
Hey man, we got another round coming in the next few months after we late Q1, early Q2.
And you're gonna raise as a fund or as a startup?
As a startup. So we already did our first company raise, and then we're doing our first portfolio raise in January or February, and then another company raise afterwards. Especially look at what happened with Masterworks. Like they just became $1 billion company, and frankly, I think they're a great company. I just think we have a superior offering, but also we're not competitors. We're complementaries. Everyone who's ever studied finance will tell you like you should have 20% of your portfolio in alternatives as a mean to diversify and have that upside. And I'm not going to pretend we're going to get all 20%. Like I'm partners with Fundrise and Masterworks and Rally and Here and Vint. Like these are the guys that are really bringing that 20% to the masses.
We got to introduce you to our buddy from MicroAcquire. Either you all could partner or you can kill each other or something, but like,
oh man, I'm here to make friends until someone tries ripping off my business model. That's a little different.
I mean, dude, no, they're really different, right? Like they're like any startup, whether it be SaaS or a coffee shop, they're just letting.
Oh, I know MicroAcquire. I love those guys. I've just never met them.
Oh yeah, they were on a podcast too. So
really?
You all should be friends. Yeah, part of the
honestly,
crew.
I started a roundtable monthly of fractional CEOs. Fractional investment CEOs. So if you're running a company that's like this new wave of fractional investments, like we meet once a month, we share best practices and ideas and stuff. I don't pretend to know everything, but I surround myself with people who do.
Yo, that's super, super dope. Okay, so to be clear, in joining the platform, because I'm sure a ton of people on our platform are going to join you all.
Love it.
We're investing in your fund, not like individual businesses.
Yep, in the fund. Down the road, we'll have individual ones, but like for a first investment in franchising, I think everyone should be diversified. Like you're already getting into a new asset class. To be able to diversify, that makes sense. It's like if you were to pop into investing in stocks for the first time, you wouldn't be like, oh, I'll take that stock and that stock. Really, the best move is get an ETF, see how it works, get some exposure to the broader market. And so we're doing the same thing to start off. But really in the long run, what we're going to do a lot of is more geographic based funds. And so like, you're in New York, like where you get your haircut, where you go work out, where you get your oil change, those are things you should own. And you also as an investor, you're going to be a customer, you're going to be an evangelist, and it's like the circular economy. It's getting this really
about Kenny. He's just trying to become the Kathy Wood of franchising. That's what you're trying to do. If you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She runs like ARK Invest. It's this person who ran up like a huge investment fund that all people on the internet are obsessed with.
That's all right. People can be obsessed. I won't be that afraid.
And that's my point. That's exactly the point. Clay is a fan of Kathy, I think. He was, at least.
Yeah, he's been quiet.
Yeah, Clay's managing his crypto portfolio in the background.
I'm scared to jump in and out just because I think my audio is choppy.
Well, okay. Tell us. You kind of went down the regulatory path, but things are going live soon. What day? If you have one.
And we don't have a specific. Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, what did it take to get to this point?
Yeah, we're waiting on our final SEC approval, so we have to submit another document or two, and then it's 30 days from there. So it should be late January. Ideally, also nothing ever goes according to plan, but we didn't have to push back as long as I predicted a year ago. And as far as like what we had to do to get here, man, I've never talked to so many lawyers in my life. I was very fortunate though, because when I first got FranShares started, I talked to my good friend Cody Barbo. He's the CEO of Trust and Will, which is like TurboTax for Trust and Wills. And he introduced me to the guys over at DLA Piper, which is one of the bigger law firms in the country. And basically, I pitched them on this idea. I didn't even have a company formed yet, and they deferred all my legal fees. Oh yeah, we know you'll get funded. Pay us back. And so got funded, paid them back, and then right after he gets poached to start the new Cooley office in Chicago.
Whoa.
And, yeah. And so I'm like, yeah, take me with you. And then basically Cooley came in and poached all like the top attorneys in Chicago, including Christina Rupas, who's like one of the top, if not the top securities attorney in the country. Like they nabbed her from one of the top firms here. And so we basically put together a dream team of creating this Regulation A+ for it, which is, again, like it's like a mini IPO, but lets anyone that's whether they're accredited or unaccredited investors get into the fund. And to me, it's important to get a mix of the two. So I got a lot of questions of like, why not just do institutional only, or why not accredited investors only to start? But it's really the combination that makes this more successful. You've got your big check writers, and honestly, your big check writers don't talk as much about what they're investing in. Versus your small check writers, it's access to more investments they didn't have before, but it's also investing in their local community. Plus, it's more built-in customers and evangelists for everything in the fund. And so I think it's that combination of everyone that makes this work. Plus, if you're creating a new asset class, make it available to everyone. It's going to make everyone happy in general. Like you make more profitable locations available to more people.
Dude, I think that's brilliant. I think you should attack everyone. Why would you make your TAM smaller? And you can just like tailor the offerings. And with this legal squad, you can just chop it up how you need to. That's dope.
Yep.
Okay. I want to position you to be able to get a lob into your next round, assuming me and Clay don't take the whole thing.
Yeah.
Are there any types of investors in the world that you would love to meet? Or like you can even name drop. And we might just be able to make that happen very quickly.
Oh man, that's interesting. The investors I've spoken with who I get along the best are the ones who get what I'm doing and they're like, hey, go build. I'm not a good micromanaged person. I've tried corporate before. It did not work well because I'm not a good at being micromanaged. But like ones who are like, go change finance, go build what you want to. And we understand what you're doing. Like we understand that finance is changing. Things are getting fractionalized and we want you to dominate this market. As far as specific investors, honestly, no one in particular comes to mind, especially because everyone I meet, like there are companies and people I never would have thought about that I'm so happy I did. Like Chicago Ventures is just the best VC I could have imagined working with to start. And they weren't originally on my radar at first, not going to lie. And so like, I like to see what life throws people and places at you. And so I'm excited to meet them all.
Fine. So everybody.
If
you want to like drop your Instagram or like your email, everybody spam him if you're interested. Kidding.
It's at Kenny Rose 28 if you want to find me on the gram.
Cool. What's what's something about startups that sucks that nobody talks about?
I've one that it's different for everyone, but for me, like I'm a solo founder. And man, it can be lonely as a solo founder. I started my first business as a solo
So
founder.
lonely on the cap table when you own so much of it.
Yeah, that's true. No one's. I'm not crying myself to sleep at night. I'll tell you that. But yeah, like when I started my first company, I was working out of a co-working space, and I met two other friends who were starting their businesses at the same time, and we've all grown those businesses together. Well, now I'm sunsetting my old business because of FranShares. Like we all started off like first come first serve desks, and then a dedicated desk, and then an office, and so like we bubbled up together over the last like 3 or 4 years. So it's nice to find those people, but until you do, it's very lonely. And then especially with starting FranShares, like I'm mostly working at home now because all day, every day. But I hired my first employee a month and a half ago, and God bless him, he's the best. But until then, I was burning at both ends while someone was holding a lighter to the middle. And you just don't get to talk to a lot of people. It's unfortunate, but it's not for everyone.
That is real. It's not easy until it's like, wow, I'm getting more from this than I would have gotten from a job.
Yeah, people love to say now, especially, oh, I'm so happy for you. You know, you can do it. I'm like, where the hell were you the last couple of years? You know, like I built the other business up, but like people don't really care until it's right in front of them, and then they're all congratulatory.
Yeah, I just talked to a friend of mine who I met at the same stage that you're at now of his company in 2016, and he just received a $100 million SoftBank check. And hopefully going to invest in it. I'm not going to say who it is, but he made this funny point. He was like, you know, startups are great, and you think you don't work for anyone, but most people realize when they don't work for anyone unless they're retired, they work for everybody. That's really funny. Yeah, and even then, if you got a family, it's even worse. Okay, what are things that can be helpful to you generally from anyone in our community? And also, at some point, I would love to know how you all make money. I think it's like some percentage in management fee or something like that, but we cannot talk.
Actually, spoiler alert, you're wrong. And I'll get into that because I love talking about how we make money. Oh, we'll get to that in a sec. But what was the first one? Yes. Oh, the ask. Go sign up on the wait list. That's like my number one ask. Also because we're big on education, if you couldn't hear me this whole time. But like, you know, you're going to get an ebook. We're going to start doing a lot more educational videos so people can just understand all of this before it's offered. And then refer people to it. You know, you'll get like I said, you'll get your own referral link and share it with people. Really, like, I want this to be really an investment for the people, which means the people have to help out too. I'd rather not spend everything on marketing and have the people should be word of mouth telling us. Like, that's how we've grown the wait list so far. And I want to really keep that momentum going.
Oh, this is all out. That's incredible.
Well, minus like maybe 20 of them. We just started doing paid ads really recently. We're only at like testing phase with that. But yeah, I've done like I said, it's really just people sharing with each other. It's
like
awesome.
Less than 1% of his waiting list is from paid ads. That's incredible.
Yeah. And I think it's 15% is direct referrals. And that's people who remember to use the link, unlike some people click. As far as the revenue model. So when I was starting this, I looked at all the other fractional investing companies. I said, what do people hate about them? And let's work backwards from there. And so the two things people hate the most, can you guys guess? Like we're looking at Fundrise or Masterworks or Rally. Like, what do you think people hate the most?
I was gonna guess lack of distributions is one. I don't know if that's exactly the right answer.
That's actually number 3.
Okay. And then I think the thing that I kept hearing was just there's an adverse selection problem where you're not necessarily getting allocation of the best deals.
That was actually not in it either, but I really like those two also because we are solving for those two as well. But the top two I saw were liquidity and fees. And so I'll start with number 2, liquidity. Right off the bat, I mean, legal disclaimer, we cannot guarantee or offer liquidity. I am doing my best though, because we do have a trading platform that'll be live from day 1. So if you need liquidity, you can list your shares on there and let other buyers buy them for you, especially because ideally we're going to have a wait list of investors afterwards that are going to be looking to hop on whatever they can. And because we're building the businesses and growing them and they produce income, they should be appreciating in value over time. But so that's how we're working on the liquidity piece. But as far as the fee structure, you know, these days you see everything from like sign up fee to assets under management fee to I hate you fee. You know, I was an advisor at Merrill Lynch. People, well, number one thing they hate
is that like, a real thing on someone's receipt or invoice?
They use a different label for it, but I'm sure that's what it is.
No, I think I actually just put it as a joke. But just say I love you fee. That's the one.
I love you fee, 0.0%.
No, 0.01%.
Oh, my love's worth that much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I work backwards. I'm like, how do you get rid of fees here? So we make money in 3 different ways. The first is like when you look at the financing of a franchise, like I mentioned, all of the costs are outlined in their disclosures. So 80% of that cost is from signing the agreement to opening the doors. That last 20% is working capital. So instead of going to a bank and saying, hey, I'm going to put $5 million down and I'd like a $20 million loan, they'd probably think you're crazy unless you have a whole lot of collateral. Instead, we crowdfund 80 million, and then we say, hey, we'd like a working capital loan. And so we provide the working capital for the business, which is 20% of the cost. So we're buying in for 20%. It's not a carry that waters down your returns. It's us actually buying into the fund with you. And so in the long run, we make money when our investors make money. We don't take distributions ahead of them. We take them alongside with them. And then also in the longer term, ideally, we're going to sell a bunch of these funds in the future. So if you've got a group of franchisees, private equity loves to snap those up. And so when we sell those, all the investors get their equal share of payout, including ourselves. And then in the short term, how we make money, like I mentioned, I come from the franchise brokerage side. And literally, if you talk to me versus going straight to the franchise, it's the same investment. So what we do is we are the broker of record as well as the franchisee. Yeah. So we are working with the franchises. We buy 25 locations of each. We get a commission from them and it comes out of their pocket. So literally, like if everyone somehow did this on their own, it wouldn't cost any more. It's not out of our investors' pockets at all. And so
you can
that's
do it than a normal broker would because you're doing it at volume.
Yeah.
Or you have other revenue means as well.
Exactly.
Okay. So you're passing it on to the franchises, help the little guy.
Exactly.
But you're giving them savings as well. It's a win-win for everyone.
Well, yeah. Plus we're like a dream franchisee for them because like we're going to follow their systems. One of the main reasons franchisees fail is they don't follow the processes and the systems in place. They know better, or they want to cut corners on what they spend on. We're the opposite. Right? No, I want to follow your thing to the fucking dot because I know that this is how it works. And also,
you all launch the franchise too. You don't just invest; you might launch one too.
Yeah.
So you're effectively creating a syndicate to launch a new franchise for these people, not investing in the master franchise holdco.
Well, we are investing in existing franchise brands, so like they already have a lot of traction. Like Teriyaki Madness already has 300 plus locations, opener in development. Smash My Trash sold like 600 locations in the last 2 years. So these are very high growth franchises, but we're just doing new locations of them. In the future, though, we will definitely be franchising different brands. And, the big problem in franchising, like I said, is that most people don't wake up and say they want to be a franchisee. So we come in as solving a huge need in the industry where about, I think I said 15% of the 4,000 brands out there hit 100 or more locations. Versus when we have a crowd of investors, we can franchise a brand, make a 100 location thing overnight pretty much because we've got that infrastructure and investor base and built-in support from those investors.
Then you can negotiate lower franchise fees.
Yep. You can do a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Love it, bro. Okay. Well, Clay, come talk to us, man. Give us some quick fire questions after answering Kenny's question that he gives to us free of charge.
Oh, snap, free of charge. Well, you know what? I've actually, when you sign up for the wait list, I've been doing user interviews. So I'm trying to figure out what people don't like about this. What do you guys think is the number one most attractive thing to investors for something like this?
I think investment strategy for one, getting access to the cash flow generating assets. There kind of plays into the first one. Alternative investments in general is really interesting to me. Like I think there's this overall trend that everybody's becoming an investor. It doesn't matter what stage of life you're at, how much income you have. Everybody is starting to put that money to work into different, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the stock market anymore. So I think as more people pull money outside of the stock market or just start thinking of like different ways, I think this is positioned to win because the historical performance of it, along with your model, I think puts it in a spot where it's like very beneficial for the people that sign up for it. And it's just kind of a game for you.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm thinking cash flows. I want that monthly income.
There
And
we go.
if I that's why I asked the principal relative to payback period to know when I'm in the green, and that's just making me some money. I like the fact that there's equity accrual here.
Mm-hmm.
I would love if one day like I could actually just buy franchises in a really simple way. Because when I look at websites, it's like you need to have this thing, fill out these 70 forms. If I could have one like common app for all franchises and you all like maybe ping me for the extra 4 questions and I can do it through y'all, that's great. And then I guess some form of like standardized reporting to understand it in like portfolio management, which is literally what you for us. So all in all, you just make my portfolio diversification in that space easy and give me better returns than going to buy apartments.
Love that. Awesome. Yeah. Honestly, I love talking to everyone who's like thinking about investing. Like I think I had 20 of those interviews scheduled this week, and you get such great feedback from people of like things you didn't think of. Like I used the term circular economy. I got that from a user interview, and I was just like, man, what a great statement. I love it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I guess one thing that I will focus on is speed to having me like in market.
Yeah. Soon, we'll get you there soon.
Yes, like can you give me
Kenny, how do I see where be able to see that? And I can't anymore.
Sorry, you cut out there. What'd you say?
My bad. I was asking where I can see where I rank on the wait list. I was trying to find it on the website and I can't anymore.
You know, we just relaunched an update to the website yesterday, and so we're fixing that right now. We were on a webinar yesterday with Rocket Dollar, and so we wanted to have that all set up before we went on there. And we just we need to update that part. You'll get it soon though.
Cool. Yeah, because when this goes out, I'm gonna try to be like top 5 once this goes out, because I'm just gonna blast it everywhere.
So I already gave you credit for everything that you did before. You're number 2 on the list right now.
Let's go. All right.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yo, can I just mirror him?
Oh man, you
like,
gotta start.
We just have a joint wait list position.
I mean, you can have a duel with them and start sharing your referral link.
Yeah, can we make one for Well, I mean, Clay found this, so it's super fair that he just takes the points. Well, like, I just want to be ahead on the wait list. Clay can take all the money. I just want
honestly, if you refer like 4 people, you're going to be in the top 100, I think. So you'll be good.
I'm going to shoot you my link right after this, Tyler, and then you got to just start shooting it out to everybody in your network.
I got to re-hop on the wait list. Then I want to be even further behind my other account. It's kind
of you know what, if it helps, I can delete your spot in the wait list so you can sign up through his, give him the 1, and then you get
okay.
Everybody wins.
Oh man, I'm gonna watch my.
I'm gonna go spam all of our group chats before Clay does.
I hope you're happy. I get to watch my counter go down, and that's like the last thing I ever wanted.
This is technically your first churn moment. How's it feel?
Don't say that. Sad.
Waitlist churn.
Oh
and
no!
If he ever tells you he has 0% churn, he is lying.
Hold on. Let's see. I get a where's the horn that's like the bad moment coming through? Oh no. Oh, that hurt.
That's sad.
Sorry, you're gonna avenge me and make me.
Am I going to get an email that says you've been removed from the waiting list? F off.
Oh, I don't think so, but I kind of want to put that.
Yeah. You're a bad person. You're no longer on the wait list.
Wow. Yeah, actually, I should do that.
All right, Clay.
Yeah. Fires. Yeah. Kenny, you want to go through quick fire real quick?
All right, shoot.
So, got 4 questions here meant to be answered in 2 sentences or less. First one is, what's a recommendation you hear regularly?
Do what you love and make a business out of it. I love doing business, but I was never passionate about franchising specifically growing up. You know, I lived 5 years in a town that didn't have any franchises. So when I hear people saying like, oh, I'm gonna be an artist, make something, I'm like, learn how to build a business first and then make that into a business if you can.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the DICE framework?
No.
It's by a guy named Jack Butcher, who's worth following on Twitter. But he essentially says, like, early on in your career, you should just say yes to everything and just collect a bunch of dots. And then after you get a better understanding of what you're good at, for those dots, you got to start connecting them and then build skills or a product around that.
I love that. Yeah, 'cause I'm definitely a yes man for opportunity. Like, didn't know anything about franchising. I was like, there's opportunity in there. I want to go learn about it. And then I learned to fall in love with it. So, but yeah, I love skiing and doing art and stuff, but like, I'm not building a business around that. I think a lot of people just kind of chase, hoping it'll turn into a business somehow. It's like, you gotta learn how to build one first.
Great example of you being a yes man is just saying yes to come on this podcast with no context on us, just through a cold LinkedIn email.
Honestly, I was happy you reached out because like it was on a Sunday you sent that out, and like, you know, I'm sitting here watching football and I just hear this thing flipping and flipping and flipping. I'm like, what just happened? I'm like, a bomb went off. What is going on here?
Annoying once you hit hyperscale.
You know what? There's worse things to be annoyed about. It's going to be great.
Trying to get better in your house.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, why I get them this grand piano? Or even worse, the drone.
Let's see, next one. In the last year, what new belief, behavior, habit has most improved your life?
Oh, that's a great question. I would have to say talking to, no. Oh man, I thought I had an answer for this. I don't know anymore. I've had so many changes in habits lately. Honestly, eating healthier, I think is definitely a good one. Like I lost 20 pounds in like 2 months by just changing up my diet. Like I don't buy bread or cheese anymore. And even though I love them, it's good to eat when you go out, but it's like when you have that crap in your house, it's just so easy to go to it. So eating healthier, you feel better and you look better.
Love that. I think that's we had the same answer like 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, we got more people eating better. That's good.
It's because we were stuck inside for so long.
I know. You had like no other choice. Let's see, next one. What's one piece of advice you'd give somebody that's starting a company?
Find yourself a realist. And I don't mean a pessimistic person. Someone who's going to tell you the truth. I'm usually this for a lot of people. I say I give realistic insights to those. But a lot of people just want to be your cheerleader and say, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Great. Go, go, go. But somebody say like, that's a dumb idea. That's not going to work. You can disagree with them, but you need someone in that other corner that's giving you pushback on everything. And not because they hate life, but because they are actually like pushing you to think out differently about it.
Yeah, that is good advice. I don't think I've heard of that, but I mean, it's super applicable. I mean, especially once you get funding, it seems like everybody, your advisors, cap table, everybody's telling you like what's going right. Or like,
yeah,
I think the advice that's more actionable is usually what's not, and then you can build solutions around that. So I think that's good advice.
Even before then, when you're just starting the business, I've had people come to me with business ideas and I'm like, it's not going to work. Like, that's why I called you. Give me realistic advice. And it's someone needs to tell you that's just a bad idea sometimes. Like they could be wrong, but you need someone to push back on it.
Yeah. I mean, you're saving them a ton of time, heartbreak, and money if you're going to just tell them before they sink time into it. It's like, yeah, this isn't going to work. This is why. So doing them a favor. And last one we've kind of already alluded to this, but if you had one ask for our listeners, what would it be?
Well, I already asked them to hop on the wait list. So go find these guys some more subscribers to the podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna ask you to help with that too.
Deal. I'll share this out for sure.
Let's go.
Give it a blast, e-blast for everyone. Share it on social, all that jazz.
Yeah, we'll blow it up. We'll tag you guys.
A big thing for us right now is diving further into the founder side of things. So we've done the quote unquote hard part, which is get a ton of VCs who get spammed all day to like look up and like hang out with us. Now it's like the even harder part of getting great founders. We want to have the people with the most interesting companies with the best personalities who are going to be raising in the next year or could benefit from knowing our community. And if you have any people who fit in that bucket, we're making a pipeline of great people for the next year.
Yeah. Who's your most badass founder friend?
I got a couple of them.
You can maybe get someone from Chicago Ventures on the podcast too.
Oh, they'd love to do that. Yeah, I can get you from Chicago Ventures. I have a round table of fractional CEOs, so they'll be down. They'd love to. I've got a buddy who just started a company he's a very energetic, fun founder, and he just started one that's doing a senior care housing marketplace, so you can buy and sell and also get services for them. So that's another like untapped asset class, and it's very two-way market where they need privacy on everything, because if everyone knows you're selling it, it's like goes to hell. I didn't know anything about that market. He found himself in it, and me kind of like carved a deep niche in it.
Dude, let's go get some ethical senior home franchises. I know they exist.
So actually they do. Oh man, senior care anything is one of the fastest growing areas in franchising, senior, like in-home senior care, just like helping them with things around the house, nurses, they have them for everything. It's a very competitive industry.
Man, I can't wait to get exposure through FranShares. Fun.
Coming, man.
Also, are you guys hiring anytime soon? Because we have a job board where I feel like we haven't really given a great background on like what all we do.
Yeah.
So we run a private community of venture capital investors. We started it 18 months ago. That group has grown now to over 1,600 investors from 1,100 different funds. I have a few people from Chicago Ventures in there, like Stephen Cook, great guy.
Oh, yeah.
I catch up with
Steven's
him pretty regularly.
I would suggest
Yeah.
get Steven on there. Steven's the best.
Yeah,
he's the one who found me. He's the one who found me
Okay.
for Chicago Ventures. Yeah.
Good shit. I literally hit him up like the other week trying to catch up. We got some penciled for January.
He's the greatest. Like I sent him a bunch of portfolio companies to look at. He sends me a bunch of founders and other people to meet. Like, yeah, great dude.
I want to hoop with him. He played at Princeton, I think.
Yeah, he'd whoop your ass, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's like a big ass dude.
He played pro, international pro. I think in Greece, I want to say.
Yeah.
What? I didn't realize.
Oh, he's a big dude.
So we got our third play, me, you, and him, and we're running it up for the VC 3-on-3.
Yeah, Tyler and I we're both 6'5". It's like not apparent when you're behind.
Wow.
When you're behind a computer.
I would say I'm 6'2", and I for some reason didn't peg you guys. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, come be on our team. It's 6 foot and up.
Oh no, I'm an uncoordinated 6'2". Like I'm great at defense. Great at defense. My shooting is garbage. If you don't mind me getting 0 points, but like 10 turnovers, we're good.
I mean, we need to hustle high energy.
Oh, I got you.
Make layups.
Yeah, kind of. I shouldn't do a full on yes with that one.
Yeah. But yeah, we have one part of like what we do is the community piece, but then we're highlighting members like next era of investors and operators every week in the newsletter as well as the podcast. But then we also have a job board where like we'll highlight your roles within the newsletter for 60 days. As a friend of ours, like we'll just feature that for you for free. So whenever you have any stuff that you need help hiring on, just let us know. We'll upload that for you.
Awesome.
And then I guess the last piece, obviously we're interested in your business, want a piece of it. So we run a syndicate and would love to get allocation whenever it does come time for you guys to raise. Obviously, like you have other fish to fry and you got to run a business first, but whenever it does come time for you to raise and you need capital, if you're interested, like we'd love to participate too.
Yeah, I'll for sure add you both to my investor update list so you guys kind of see more like behind the scenes stuff. And honestly, I love working with good people, so we'd love to have you in the next round.
Yeah.
Oh,
hell yeah.
Well, dude, let us know also. This is something I've been thinking about when we do the startups. What are your thoughts on if we say like window for time or for fundraising, next 6 months, next year? Like, would you want that information to be out there? Would you want to keep it close to chest?
Oh no, I'll throw it out there. I talk to 5 VCs a week now. I've been reaching out to anyone. They're still reaching out to me. So like I tell them all the time.
Maybe we'll put like your email for people to reach out, or like the window, like start reaching out between this time and this time. Maybe not today. Maybe.
Oh no, honestly, they can start reaching out whenever, because I love talking to everyone, and like honestly, it's about building a relationship together, not just like a transactional thing. So like even if we're not doing it for a few months, like I'd like to get to meet everyone now, tell them, well, they're already gonna know a whole lot about me from this, but still give them more of a face to the name and get to know more before we get to that point.
Perfect then.
Love it.
All right. Well, in that case, I think all is Gucci.
Love it.
Or Louis, because R.I.P. Virgil Abloh. Chicago people got us,
Love it. Love it.
All is great. Louis. We really appreciate you, man. And I look forward to speaking with you again and getting my position on the wait list moved up.
We'll move you up. I appreciate it, man. Great being on here, and I really appreciate the support, guys.
Of course.
100%. Thanks again, Kenny.
Thank you, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Later.
Bye.
Huge thanks again to Kenny for coming on. We hope that each of you are able to pick up something valuable from this talk. If you're looking to get in touch with Kenny, you can follow him on LinkedIn. Doesn't have Twitter, but you can follow his LinkedIn. That's linked in the description below. And if you also just want to sign up for FranShares, we've also included the sign up link in the description below. So do that and build up some passive income. For next steps, if each of you have not submitted your info to become a member yet, you can do that through our website at www.Confluence.VC. And also, if you want to become a subscriber to the newsletter, we offer a ton of free resources in there each and every week meant to help you become better at your individual roles. You can subscribe there at www.confluence.substack.com. Hope that helps. Hope to hear from y'all soon.